Welcome, Bronco Nation, to an incredibly exciting video. I've got to do a lot of exciting videos on this channel, but today is one I've been really looking forward to because we're going to get to combine two of my favorite topics, Boise State and England together. Today, I have Chase Baker, former Boise State defensive tackle from 2008 to 2011. He's currently working with the NFL Academy in London, as most of my viewers should know, and you probably noticed kind of some of the words that I say throughout my videos. I have dual heritage. My mom's from England, my dad's from American, so this is my grandfather's RAF cap. I have a lot of British heritage in my family, and I love having the opportunity. Never really get to talk about it on the channel, so I love having this opportunity to have Chase Baker, who is zooming in from London today, or from England today, to talk about his work at the NFL Academy. We're going to talk about what the NFL Academy is. I know a lot of people aren't really aware of what that program is. It's doing some incredible work in Europe, raising the awareness of some of these players and giving them opportunities to advance up into the top levels of American football. So we're going to talk about the NFL Academy. We're going to talk about what his visions and goals is. We're going to talk about some of the athletes that Chase works with, which includes some Boise State bound or potential Boise State guys. And then we're going to conclude the video talking about that incredible class, that 2007 class that Chase was part of, the winningest class in college football history, and some of his memories and best moments from that 2008 to 2011 season. So Chase Baker, 100 tackles in 2008 to 2011, 6.5 sacks, 13 tackles for loss, 3 fumbles recovery, 6 pass breakups. In 2010, he had an incredible season, 31 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 6.5 tackles for loss. Then he went on to work with the Vikings from 2012 to 2014. And then he got into coaching, went over to Barcelona Dragons in 2022. And now he's the linebacker coach at the NFL Academy. Thanks so much for coming on, Chase.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Jacob. Appreciate the introduction.
Let's talk about the purpose and vision of the NFL Academy. So NFL Academy was launched in 2019. They've had 40 members that have been on scholarship in the U.S. In 2024, they have 19 members in that year alone. I think it's the largest class they've ever had. And recently, they had a member from their 2019 class that ended up going into the NFL. Travis Clayton was drafted by the Bills and he was part of that 2019 class. So talk to us a little bit about the purpose and the vision of what the NFL Academy is.
Yeah, no. So the NFL Academy, it's a program for elite players out here in Europe and really around the world. And so we just expanded and released our second campus for the NFL Academy. That's going to be in Australia, and it's going to handle Japan, New Zealand, and that the Asian region. But really cool, the expansion. So it just gives these guys a chance to go chase their dreams and get after it and gives them the blueprint of how to get to college. And so it's just a very, intense developmental program. We try and model it after what you get in a Division I program. So these guys are waking up early, hitting the weights. We have a great strength conditioning staff that the results we see in a matter of, a couple months. And then if we have them for 2 years, the growth is insane. But yeah, so workouts, they go to class. We have meetings, we go over film, we have practice, we have more meetings, and it's just a nonstop developmental program, and we get these guys ready to go, and we want them to be able to go out and earn those scholarships.
What would you say the state of American football awareness is in Europe? I mean, obviously, they've got other number one sports there that have higher awareness. You're talking, soccer, or they would call football, rugby, cricket, all these other different sports. But American football seems to be on the rise. You talk about that expansion of the NFL Academy to different regions of the globe. You've coached in Spain, you've coached in UK, you've traveled throughout. Talk a little bit about what the level of awareness of American football is as a sport in Europe.
Yeah, no, it continues. So I've been here going on 3 years, and every year it just continues to expand and grow, and it's pretty amazing. And there's some good ball being played out here. If you look at country-wise, Germany's kind of the juggernaut of the Europe. They've done a really good job of setting up their youth programs all the way up to their professional stuff, and they have the GFL, and then in terms of the ELF, the European League of Football, that they have the most teams in that league as well. So they're really set up well. Austria's right there, but pretty much throughout Europe, you're seeing this growth. And I think if you were to see the applications for the NFL Academy, it makes sense because we're going through tens of thousands of applications. It's pretty amazing to see the growth and the interest and the desire to be involved in this game.
Where would you see the state of American football in Europe in the next 5 to 10 years? I mean, is this a rapidly growing sport with rapidly growing general interest? Do you see this on a high trajectory? Where do you kind of see this sport going for Europe in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, so I think we're on that growth track right now, and the best example of that is what the NFL has done and their investment into Europe, right? And so they have assigned teams, throughout all the teams in the league have been assigned their international regions, right? So the Bears and the Miami Dolphins are in Spain. We got the Vikings and Patriots and Jaguars and a bunch of these teams right here in the UK. So every team has an international region that they're marketing to, and they're trying to help grow the grassroots stuff. And they're starting these youth programs and flag. And obviously now with the flag football being part of the Olympics, that's just continue to help raise and grow the sport as well. But I think the NFL kind of leading the way and having their teams branch out and really grow the sport out here. I think that's going to be big. So you'll continue to see that development from the NFL and their involvement, but you also see these programs that have been out here are going to get some of their due, their notice. A lot of teams have been operating at high levels and doing things the right way. So I'm excited for them to be able to show what they've built over the years as well.
When you look at the kind of athletes that are coming through the NFL Academy, these guys aren't just from Europe; they're from all over the world. I mean, recent Boise State commit Lopez Sanusi, Irish-born, but his parents were from Nigeria. Jay Ajayi, he was born in England, but his parents also were from Nigeria. So you're seeing a lot of different influx from all these different. It's not just English football, at the NFL Academy. It's the entire world is coming out and participating in here. Can you talk a little bit about the type of athletes that you guys are bringing in? What is their kind of baseline knowledge of the sport when they're approaching it, and what is their drive when they're getting to the NFL Academy and learning how to play this sport and develop themselves?
Yeah, so you touched on it in terms of like where everybody's coming from. I think there's something on our socials that they just put out, but it's really cool just to see where everybody's coming from Africa, like you said, throughout Europe. We got guys from Finland and Norway, and so in terms of the athletes that we're getting, man, we're just looking for uh, first of all guys that want to compete. But obviously, there's just some extraordinary athletes, around the world, and so um, there's a great saying that some of the NFL Africa guys said, but it's talent is distributed equally, but the opportunity isn't. And so what we're trying to provide that opportunity, and there's some monsters out here, just some genetic freaks. So happy to have those guys. You're going to get a wide range of football knowledge. Some of these guys live, sleep, and breathe and die on this stuff, so they know everything already. We have some guys on the team that are pretty much player coaches. And then we have, a number of guys who've never played a snap of organized football, and we're starting from the from the bottom, and it's just as rewarding as well because you don't have to worry about any bad habits or anything that's been instilled previously. So you're starting from a clean slate. You get to build it from the ground up, and that's pretty cool. But yeah, man, it's a wide range of everything. But we're just getting great athletes that can move that have great control of their body. That there's some great size out here. Man, it's just like it says, it's from everywhere, every part of the planet outside of the U.S. And then you get just monsters, some great athletes, some great kids that just are pursuing their dreams. So it's really cool to be involved with this.
When you're coming from a country that their main sport is not American football and it's not even necessarily in there maybe top 3 or 4, and you really have to establish that drive yourself, I would imagine that you come up with a lot of players that are extremely motivated, even maybe more so than some of the guys in the U.S. You have been involved in football at the high school level in the U.S., collegiate, NFL, and multiple places in Europe now with Spain and England under your belt. Can you kind of describe the passion and the drive of these guys that are coming in? Would you say they're more motivated than maybe even some American players are?
Yeah, no, I think I don't know if I'd say more motivated, but I think there's definitely that level of passion that you look for, right? Um, there's a disconnect between sports and academics out here. So there are no sports teams tied to school. So if you want to play a sport, you have to go out of your way to go play it. And so the guys that have been playing, and obviously we're looking and, we're evaluating tape, and we want to see guys that have played before. That's primarily who we're scouting. But all these guys that are playing, they're having to pay for their shoulder pads, their helmets, and all their pads, and they have to pay for their travel. So it is a major investment to play this sport out here. It's not like, you get to go and say, "Hey, I want to play football," and they're going to provide you everything. That these guys have to, there's sacrifices that are made. There's an investment that is made, and that I think it shows in the fact that there's a reason they're involved in the sport, and there's a love for this game that is hard to kind of copy. So you don't have to ever guess whether these guys love the game, because it's kind of built in with how the sacrifice and what they do in order to continue to play it. So I love that. I think it's a big reason that I believe colleges should be looking at these kids from the international, because this is a passion for them. It's not just something they happen to fall into. They've deliberately sought out the sport and have continued to grow and develop within it. And it's a testament to the kids that go after it.
Well, Boise State is definitely taking notice, as are many colleges around America, and they've gone out and they've already brought in a guy from the last class here, a defensive lineman, Lopez Sanusi, 6'3", 295 pounds. He's going to be coming over to Boise State in the class that's on campus right now. And then you've got some other guys they've gone out and offered. They've gone out and offered Arthur DeBoshi, a defensive back, 6 foot, 190 pounds, offered him in May. So can you talk a little bit about Arthur here? We'll kind of switch our gears, talking a little bit more about Boise State. I know you haven't worked directly with him because you were with the linebackers, but you've been around and you've seen him play and seen his program. You talk a little bit about his character and about his skill set.
Yeah, so Arthur is an amazing competitor. He's one of those guys that doesn't matter where he is on the field. You want him on the field, and he's not a guy you want to have to go against. So he's just a guy you always have to be aware of. He's going to give you your best. And so whether he's a wide receiver, he's a weapon there. He's a guy you don't want to throw the ball up to when he's a DB. Man, so that's the best way I can describe him. It's a great competitor, a great athlete who loves to win. So, I'd be really stoked if Boise was able to land Arthur. I'm going to continue, we'll keep pushing, but he's going to be able to make his choice here soon. We're going to the U.S. on a college tour, so he's going to get some more eyes on him, and man, I just hope the Broncos continue to push forward with that. But no, and then with Sanusi, like you said, really cool to see him out there. I had just gotten here, so it wasn't like I got to work with him or have any influence on that, but just a really cool connection there. Got to talk to him, and a guy that I'm excited to follow as he starts his journey out at Boise.
Well, talking about journeys out at Boise, you were able to go through your own journey there. Of course, part of the 2007 class, the winningest class in college football history, 50-3 overall. Was there a sense of the impending greatness of your class? Because when we look back on your class now, I mean, every single one of these guys, yourself included, are in the annals of Boise State history right there at the top. I mean, that class had Kellen Moore, Titus Young, Austin Pettis, Mitch Burrow, DJ Harper, Doug Martin, Shea McClellan, Dan Paul, Aaron Tevis, Brandon Thompson, Hunter White, Billy Wynn, and yourself. I mean, that has got to be one of the greatest recruiting classes. I know not ranking-wise, they're not the highest, because this last class for Boise State was the highest in school history as far as star stats, but as far as what they turned out, what their end accomplishments were, that's got to be one of the greatest classes in college football history. Can you talk about being part of that class, and was there a sense of what you guys were going to go out and accomplish?
I don't know if initially there was that sense. I think it was just a bunch of guys who had chips on their shoulder and who got into a program that was able to push them and provide, what we needed. Again, I also have to look at the coaches. We had some of the best coaches, and they continue to coach at these, huge programs around the country. So the combination of the guys, Coach Pete kind of led the way on our kind of guy and going out and getting guys like us. But yeah, no, I think we came out with a chip on our shoulder. We had something to prove. I think everybody that was there felt like, we should have been, better recruited. So everybody went out there with a chip on their shoulder, wanting to prove a point. And then we had amazing coaches. And so you don't notice it at the time, but when you look back, it's like, damn, that was awesome. And so, had some great guys and great leaders in the locker room. Yeah. Awesome times.
You talk about those coaches and those leaders, not just at the coaching level, but within the locker room themselves. And obviously, one of those guys ended up to be one of the key leaders on this team and has gone on to have an incredible career at the NFL level afterwards. Is Kellen Moore? And you were right there when he was a fresh-faced freshman on the halls. Did you guys have kind of an impression of the kind of leader that he was and what he was going to develop into in the future?
I think it didn't take long to see that Kellen, had the intelligence and that just very cerebral in how he went about it. You could tell he was the son of a coach, and it was kind of second nature. And then once he started, he was able to, put his own creativity and his own spin on things. That's when things really started to take off, and it was really cool to see. Huge testament to that, just in the fact that, and his ability to get to the NFL and play there for a number of years. Because physically, you look at him and you wouldn't think there's going to be much there, but his intelligence, his awareness, his ability to read and dissect defenses was pretty insane. And then the accuracy, man. You can't help but just sit back and just appreciate what he was able to do at Boise and then in the NFL and what he does now as a coach. So nothing but love for Kellen. We're going to continue to talk about him for years to come.
You talked about some of that strong culture that was part of Boise State, and some of those things were already there, like the blue collar work ethic, and some of those things you guys really kind of developed. I mean, obviously during that 2009 season, you had the 2% Better campaign by Chris Peterson to really improve the effort overall, and other great traditions like carrying the hammer and everything else, which of course is now named after one of your teammates and Dan Paul. What lessons did you learn at Boise State that you've carried through into your playing and coaching careers?
Yeah, and so Dan Paul, man, RIP to the legend. My roommate, one of my favorite people to ever be around. And then he brought out the "Oh yeah," which is the best tradition of all of Boise. And you see a lot elsewhere, but I won't repeat it here. But just know that he set a lot of tones, and he created some traditions out there. And so yeah, no, that's a legend there as well. So I love it. There it is. Yeah, man, bring that one out. That needs to be up front. One of the major ones was the competitiveness, always competing, always bringing your best and putting your best foot forward. And then for me personally, it's always been about perseverance, about being able to overcome the difficulties, um, shoot. And those two things combined are kind of the things I hang my hat on, really. And I could really look back and point to. But yeah, no, there's a million things. There's a million guys that brought different pieces to the puzzle. But yeah, no, for me, it was definitely the resilience and the competitiveness that I love.
Do you have any favorite moments or memories from Boise State? You guys had some incredible season, that 2009 season, of course, but 2010, 11, even 2008 had some really, really special moments. Is there anything that stands out to you from your playing time at Boise State?
Oh, I get asked this a lot, and I never have a great answer because, man, it's just year after year, week after week of really cool memories. Um, I just loved I love, taking on the Giants, that when we got a chance to go up against those big programs and for us to be able to step up and show the results on the field and be able to prove that we could play with the best of them, that was always awesome. So whether it was, Virginia Tech, the Georgias, the Oregons, all those games of, again, being able to, go in there with that chip on our shoulder and prove that we could play with anybody, and doing that week in, week out, year in, year out for our entire career. I think that was one of the best feelings every time we were able to go toe to toe and get a win with those major programs.
You mentioned those major programs. It's very relevant for this season because Boise State is now going to go play at Oregon, who of course had an incredible year last year. Their only two losses last season were to the team that finished second in the country in Washington. So you guys went out and played Oregon in 2008, and then you went out and did it again in 2009, and you beat them both times, starting off at 2-0. That would eventually become a 3-0 tradition versus Oregon. Can you talk about preparing for that game, the game that nobody expected you guys to have a chance to win, and you went out and shocked the world on the national stage in 2008? Can you talk a little bit about that? Because the team right now is facing a similar situation.
Yeah, no. So one, I don't think they were ready for Kellen. I think Kellen kind of shocked him in that first game. And we came out a little harder. But I will say, as they prepare, and they're going to Autzen, right? I
Yes.
think that that crowd noise and that's hard to imitate because you hear a lot about it, but until you experience it in person and that stadium gets rocking, it's hard to truly understand. So I hope they're prepared to be able to communicate when it's deafening and you could yell at a guy that's a foot away and they're not going to hear you. So I hope they're ready for that communication. And then, yeah, just be ready for a 4-quarter slugfest and be able to ready to rock with them.
You guys, that win kind of catapulted Boise State into that golden era, 2008, 2011, where you guys were right up there with the top teams in college football. You were consistently ranked in the top 5 or top 10 throughout those years. I mean, right up there with the Auburns and Oregons and everybody, Georgias and everybody else of the college football world. I mean, obviously they talk about not paying attention to the news clippings and the headlines, but you guys have got to have had some kind of sense of what you guys were doing and of your place on the national stage. Can you talk a little bit about what that was like in the locker room when you guys are climbing the rankings, being on the front of Sports Illustrated and all of that? Was that a major distraction for you guys, or did you just kind of buckle down and keep pushing?
Yeah, I think Coach Pete was pretty clear, and I think we could recognize some things, but the coaches and Coach Pete did a good job keeping us focused on the next one, ready for the next game, and not getting too distracted. Obviously, it's hard not to as a kid. Coming home on the flights, you're gonna see they'd have ESPN on the flights and stuff. So immediately after, you're seeing these breakdowns, and a lot of it was during that time was feel good stuff, but. The coaches kept us grounded. We understood that everybody was coming with their best shot, and so yeah, we were prepared for every game. I'll say that every game was important to us. We never took any opponent for granted or thought that they weren't going to bring their best, and so we were just always prepared.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking about your time at Boise State and your current work at the NFL Academy. This is going to be a very exciting season for this program for Boise State this year in
Yes, sir.
2024. It's going to be a great year, and it's awesome to be able to look back and talk with someone that went through that really solid, strong period of Boise State history, 2008, 2011. Because I think there's a little of an impression right now that maybe right now with the energy that Spencer Danielson is bringing into this building, with the level of athletes, the recruiting class that Boise State just brought in, there's a little bit of that pre-2008 feelings in the building. And guess what? We get to go repeat history with a game at Oregon. So hopefully Boise State can reestablish themselves back on that elite top 5 track that you guys went out and laid back in the 2007 days. Or 2008, 2011 days. But thanks so much for coming on and talking about your time at Boise State and your current work at the NFL Academy. Everybody make sure that you are going out and checking out the video I just did with Mike Sanford previewing the Boise State offense, and of course also the defensive preview that I did with Hunter White, one of your teammates, and also JL Skinner. And then the special teams preview will be coming out soon. So make sure you like, subscribe so you don't miss out. That's going to be with another one of your teammates, Kyle Broxman. It's going to be an exciting season of off-season coverage for Boise State football, leading up to an incredible and very, very exciting season here in 2024. So make sure, everybody, that you like, subscribe. Thanks so much for coming on, Chase. This was awesome.
Hey, thank you, Jacob. Appreciate you having me. Thanks for always being a positive voice in the Bronco Nation community. We appreciate what you do, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again for coming on. I'll throw up a link to the NFL Academy London, so everybody go follow their content as well and keep an eye on all these incredible products that are coming through. So thanks so much again for coming on. Thanks so much, everybody, for sticking around all the way to the end. It's been a great video. And as always, go Big Blue!